Hey guys, welcome back to HypeRC. We have another new release from HBX. This is their Violent SC 3100A short course truck. This is a 14th scale basher, brushless, 2 and 3S capable. So let's get this dude over to the bench, see exactly what comes out of the box, and take it out for a nice bash. Stick around and check it out. All right, guys, let's take a look at what comes in the box. Looks like it's packaged up very nicely. It looks like it's got like a mini scale garage on the inside. This is pretty cool looking. Oh, super cool. Perfect little scale. Really cool looking little truck. Let's see what we got inside here. So it looks like we have our remote. And then we've got a battery and a couple chargers. Looks like we've got an extra dog bone and steering knuckle in there. Some pamphlets. Nice sticker kit we're going to have to get put on, and a very nice user's manual. Let's go ahead and get all the stickers put on, get all this stuff laid out, and we'll take an up-close look at what we got. All right, guys, one thing that certain RC companies do that irritates the daylights out of me is when they put the clear wrap over the body and then they put all the accessories on over the top of it. So now I've got to go ahead and get all of these taken off to get all of this plastic wrap off the body before I put the stickers on it. So this is going to take a few minutes, but I'll get the stickers put on and we'll take a look at the truck. All right, guys, now that we've got everything unwrapped and out of the box, let's take an up-close look at exactly what you get. So you get a standard HBX remote. This comes with steering trim, steering dual rate, throttle trim. You can reverse both the servos. It has a bind button, an on-off switch, and it does take 3 AA batteries. Not too bad of a remote, especially at this price point. It definitely gets the job done. Next, this is something I like to see from RC companies. This is a battery safety notice. If you don't know anything about LiPo batteries, I highly recommend you give this a good read. Next, you get a warranty card. Then you get 2 extra aluminum wheel hexes, extra axle pins, extra wheel nuts. You get a T-wrench, a Phillips head screwdriver, extra body clips, an extra steering link, an extra CVD, a bind plug. You get 2 1050 2S milliamp batteries with this. You get 2 chargers to charge both those up at the same time, and then you get a very nice user manual with explosive use, how-tos, setups, and troubleshooting. Very nice. And then you get the Violent SC rig itself. So let's go ahead and take an up-close look at the truck. So let's go ahead and take an up-close look at the rig itself. So I've got all the decals put on this thing, and it just looks super sharp. So it does come with LEDs in the front, very nice front basher bumper, and just the overall scale looks of this 14th short course truck is spot on. Comes with a very nice rear roll cage. It's got an LED in the rear, 2 functional rear tires that can be replaced with the ones that are on the rig itself. Very nice faux radiator, roll bar, roll cage in the back. And this thing is just super sharp, very scale looking. So I'm very happy with this. So let's go ahead and take a look underneath the hood. All right, guys, one other thing I wanted to show you about the body was that this does come with a bungee light cord underneath. This is super cool. I've seen this on another HBX, so I'm very happy that they have done this. So when you want to change out a battery or work on this rig, you don't have to unplug the lights every time. And this is a little plug, so I highly recommend unplugging it with a pair of needle nose pliers or something like that. Do not yank directly on the wires because you could definitely pull those plugs out very easily. So this rig is super cool underneath the hood. They kept with a lot of scale realism on that, and I really like it. But let's go ahead and talk about the electronics. So this does have all independent electronics. Here is your receiver. That is plugged into this Hobbywing WP-S16 RTR waterproof ESC. We have a 17-gram servo with a servo saver. And then on this side, we have a 2840 3800 kV brushless motor that ought to have this rig up and moving pretty fast. I do like this battery tray. I'm a big fan of Velcro straps in battery trays to be able to put different size batteries in. And if you take this foam spacer out, you should be able to fit a 3S battery in there pretty easy. This does have a Dean's T style connector. On the front end of this, we have a composite front shock tower. This is an independent front suspension with CVDs. It does have bearings throughout. It also has an all-metal drivetrain. Now, on the rear of this is super cool. It has a straight axle with a telescoping rear drive shaft and these absolutely awesome trailing arms with a built-in sway bar, which is just super cool. I really like that. Now, this does have all aluminum shocks, oil-filled. They are very nice, very plush, right out of the factory. They feel very nice. I think that those are going to handle on this rig very well. We do have a really neat concussion-style front bumper on this rig. We do have foam-filled tires on these that feel very grippy and nice, and you even get 2 extras, and I really like this rear cage on there. Super cool looking. Keeps the scale realism on this rig. So let's go ahead and get a few batteries charged up and get this thing out for a nice bash. HBX Violent SC 3S Speed Run. "23 miles an hour. All right, guys, I had an absolute blast getting out and running the new HBX 3100A Violent SC short course truck. This thing was an absolute ton of fun to get out and bash around. My local hobby shop actually has an indoor short course track set up, and I cannot wait to take this thing over there and run it because I think it is going to be right at home on that track. But let's go ahead and talk about the pros and the cons of this rig. So the number one pro for this rig is the fact that it is a 14th scale short course truck, and they kept it as scale looking as possible, because a lot of times when they shrink these vehicles down, they get kind of wonky looking, too wide, too long, too small, too short, too tall, something. They kept the scale realism of this truck spot on. It looks absolutely amazing, especially with those rear trailing arms and the rear roll cage with the extra tires in the back. Next is the fact that this did come with all separate electronics in it. That way, if you want to upgrade the electronics down the road, you can pick and choose what to upgrade, and you don't have to do them all at the same time. Next is the oil-filled shocks. They performed very, very well. They handled very nicely on this truck, and they did not leak. They are all aluminum with adjustable shock collars on them, so those are very nice. And then the rear trailing arm and the sway bar with the straight axle on the back just makes this thing a ton of fun to drive around. So when you power slide this thing around and then take a turn and then nail the throttle, man, this thing just hooks up and takes right back off and is just a lot of fun to get out and bash around. Now let's talk about the cons on this. So the first con for me is the ESC in this thing. I would have preferred to have seen a larger 30 or 40 amp ESC in this rig. I will be upgrading to that down the road. It is a 2-in-1, which is I'm not a huge fan on, but it did perform well. On 3S off-road, we did get 23 miles an hour. I think if you were to put this thing on tarmac, you're probably going to get closer to 28, 29 miles an hour in a straight line with this. So the electronics did perform well. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit bigger ESC. Next, the battery tray on this is just a little bit on the small side. So my Avonic 3S battery did not fit in there. The Velcro strap wouldn't go around it, and the tray just wasn't long enough. I kind of had to zip tie it in there for the video to be able to get out and bash it around on 3S. So you're going to have to find a specific size 3S battery to be able to fit in this rig. And then the last con is the Phillips head hardware in this, is not my personal favorite. I highly recommend going out and getting a nice jeweler's Phillips head screwdriver for this. Do not use the little toy Phillips head screwdriver that comes with this kit, because if you start stripping screws out, you're going to cause yourself a major headache, and it's just not worth it down the road. But all in all, this rig gets an 8 out of 10 for me. Absolute blast. It's on sale right now, $40 off. You can pick it up for $129, which is an absolute steal for this rig. And I just had a blast. It's just a super fun little rig to get out and run around. So don't forget to support your local hobby shops. Bash, crawl, repeat. Hit that subscribe and like button for me and ring the bell so you can catch my next video. We'll see you next time.